Hey everyone, welcome to the Promethean Tides Aftershow. I am joined, as always, by Breaker. What's going on, Breaker?
I'm trans.
Of course you are. And we have another guest. Go ahead.
Hi.
What's your name?
PostHuman 13.
Okay, Posthumans. Yes, we have Posthumans and we have Breaker. So, uh, Trump apparently is going to run, and of course, my ideal scenario is that we have a Trump-DeSantis ticket. We finish up 4 years with Trump, with DeSantis as vice president. He basically learns from Trump. DeSantis knows how to govern Florida, but he doesn't know that much about foreign policy. So he learns from Trump over those 4 years. And then after Trump gets out, we have 8 years of DeSantis. That is, I guess, my number one favorite thing that I would like. So I like both Trump and DeSantis. But if there is a primary between the two of them, and I had to pick, my choice would be Trump. Now, Posthuman, your choice, I believe, is DeSantis.
Yeah. I can't support Trump. He's buddy buddy with Epstein. So are the Clintons. He's probably part of the established world order that's making things awful. He's like control opposition.
Oh shit.
Okay, we can get into that. And Breaker, between the two, which one would you choose?
Kamala Harris on Adderall.
That would be the best for the American people, now wouldn't it? Okay, so I think that Trump, fundamentally, he has had experience with foreign policy. He knows how to stand up to America's largest adversary, China. He did a good job at that. That is something that Ron DeSantis fundamentally, I think, is not strong at because he's only been a governor. He doesn't know.
Well, Trump's starting to lose it too. If you listen to him talk now, he kind of like, like he's kind of like Biden in that he's not so like flowing with his speech anymore. He's getting old too. Also, his background is too shifty. I can't vote for him. He's not a real conservative. So Zizek says something about this, that Trump's conservatism is a postmodern performance. That's what he said. Because it's not real conservatism. It's got like all of these like obscenities and evil acts like interspersed with all this like God and Jesus and law and order talk.
Is that Slavoj Žižek?
Yeah.
Slavoj Žižek. Basically, the Trump presidency is merely a fetish.
Well, okay, so this is my perspective, right? Like, did Trump always do the best job? No, especially when it came to COVID. I think that he did a more or less horrendous job. And in fact, DeSantis did a much better job than Trump did when it came to facing the pandemic. But
And also, DeSantis has a clean character.
well, maybe more or less, but this is what I'll say, right? When it came to the times before the pandemic, the 3 years before that, actually, Trump was doing a damned good job. And in fact, no one knew who DeSantis was. So I guess that my position is that Trump is the better candidate if we're not in a pandemic, and DeSantis is the better candidate if we are in a pandemic. Now, I would hope that by the time that 2024 rolls around, the end of 2024, I would hope that we're no longer in a pandemic, and I think that in that situation, Trump is going to be the better candidate. He knows how to run a country when it's not in a pandemic.
No, I would never vote for him. I would never vote for him. I would never vote for Biden. I wouldn't vote for Hillary either.
You only want to vote for DeSantis.
I would vote for DeSantis.
I don't want to reveal too much information about you, but I'll ask if you feel comfortable asking. Do you live in Florida?
No.
So why do you have such a raging boner for DeSantis then?
I have, I guess, libertarian ideals.
I also share libertarian ideals.
So I like that you can carry a gun around in Florida. I also like that he's getting all of this like gay gender shit out of the institutions.
How dare you? I'm trans. Respect my pronoun.
Right. No, he's done an excellent job as governor, but these are also all policies that Trump shares.
Yeah, it's just Trump's character. It's
Oh.
just the things that he's done, the people he's been associated with. I don't trust him.
Is it the mean tweets or what is it?
It's Epstein for starters. He went to Epstein's island.
Oh shit.
He did fly on Epstein's plane. That is fair. I don't think that that's proof that he went to Epstein Island, but he did fly on the plane. Yeah.
Conservatism needs a new face. Trump is by no means conservative.
I
Well,
mostly have to agree with that technically.
what he is he's not a neoconservative, right? Like
No, he's
The
not conservative at all.
1990s. He's a 1990s like neoliberal Democrat.
which you could also say is a paleoconservative, in my opinion.
Oh god.
No, dude, 100%. I think that Trump is more of a paleoconservative.
We need to get PostHuman on your fucking ass. Go, PostHuman, go, slaughter him.
I don't know what else to say. I won't vote for Trump.
Fuck Trump.
Okay,
Fuck Donald Trump.
So you're taking the Mitt Romney position. You're just a never Trumper.
No, I wouldn't vote for Biden either.
Well, at least there's that, right? Okay, so let me ask you this: between Biden and Trump, which one would you vote for?
I wouldn't vote.
You wouldn't vote. You think that they would handle the country basically more or less the same, and it would result in more or less the same
Maybe-
things for American citizens?
Maybe different kinds of entropy.
Okay, yeah, different kinds of entropy I can respect, but you don't think that one would be better within the next 4 years?
Bro, I didn't even vote in 2020.
Oh, you really should have. Come on.
I was in California anyway.
Well, in that
Yeah,
case,
no.
your vote didn't matter. Yeah.
Well, there you go. Technically, my vote didn't matter either, not to reveal which state I voted in, but, you know, you could do the
Look,
math.
man,
It was
Look,
either
man.
heavy blue or heavy red, if it didn't matter.
if you're truly conservative, you can't throw your lot in with Trump.
Well, okay. Why do you say that?
He's not conservative.
I
It's
think
clear.
I
He curses. He's a womanizer. He cheats people.
do you think it's
He's a
possible?
bully.
Do you think it's possible to be conservative on some issues and not as conservative on others?
What's he conservative on? Immigration, militarism?
I think that he's quite conservative with immigration. I think that he's quite conservative with his economic policies. I think that those are two very strong stances that he takes. He's conservative when it comes to defending the nation with the threat of China. There's a lot of things that he's actually quite conservative on.
Well, insofar as the militarism goes, he only fired rockets at one asshole in the Middle East that was technically a piece of shit that deserved to die.
I'll
Yeah,
take
yeah.
Breaker's word for it.
I just got the sense that he had a lot of pro-military talk.
Well,
But he didn't start any new wars.
also every conservative candidate has to be pro-military.
Yeah, I know, but he did go to the brink a couple times on Twitter.
All right. Well, Twitter doesn't matter. The point is that actually, yes, he didn't start any new wars, and also he brokered peace in the Middle East, and he was the first American president to set foot in North Korea, past the no man's land, and he did that. I mean, actually, he brokered a shit ton of peace. It was amazing what he did. When I think about Ron DeSantis, I think, yeah, he's really good at governing Florida. But could he do that kind of shit with North Korea? Could he do that kind of shit with China? Could he do that kind of shit with Israel? I'm not sure.
He's untested.
And hence why, fundamentally, I would prefer the candidate where I already know what they're going to do.
Plus, Trump is in all this legal trouble, and they might not even let him run.
Under the January 6th committee, that fucking joke? Yeah.
Well, to carry a little bit of water for PostHuman in regards to DeSantis, I think I could see PostHuman perspectives that DeSantis is much more of like a meat and potatoes conservative on everything that he's done in Florida so far, whereas Trump has kind of been like back and forth. Insofar as Trump has ever been involved with politics, he's kind of been all over the map historically when you think about it. He endorsed Hillary Clinton and the Clintons back in the 90s, if you remember, and then he was kind of like wishy-washy with the Bush administration. And the only time he started to become superficially conservative was when he started the whole birther thing around Barack Obama's birth certificate.
All right,
Was Barack Obama born in America? I don't think so. We need to see the birth certificate.
Breaker. Let me say this. What if Donald Trump is not following any of the ideologies of man, but he is actually following nature God? In that case, all of his behavior, switching from the Democrats to the Republicans, endorsing Hillary, not endorsing Hillary, that would all make sense.
I can see that perspective, but for someone like PostHuman that seems to be more ardently conservative in his ideology, someone that kind of flip-flops like that, I'll grant you that Trump is like a really good pragmatist that comes with the territory of being a businessman his entire life, but I don't think PostHuman wants so much a pragmatist as they want an actual meat and potatoes conservative that actually believes in the type of things they endorse.
Yeah, I'm a spiritual person.
Well, there you go.
Right, yeah. I think DeSantis is more of a meat and potatoes conservative, but here would be my retort to that. The Republican Party has been doing meat and potato conservatives for the past 100 years, and what have they gotten us? Globalism, neoliberalism, and neoconservatism. I personally am a little bit sick of the meat and potatoes conservatives. I think that for whatever reason, they all end up being corrupted, and they all end up following the new neoliberal agenda anyway. So, I don't know, man. I mean, Trump has proven that he fucking won't, and I like that. Like, I trust that a lot. The fact that he demonstrated that he will not do that. He was the first politician in my lifetime that didn't follow the neoliberal agenda. It's tough for me to put that down.
PostHuman, go.
As far as true conservatism, true followers of Christ reject society outright, and they don't play the game. I would say the true conservatism is to reject all of this.
I fundamentally agree. Yeah. Go back to nature. Start hunting elk.
Oh yeah. So you're a libertarian Christian. That's kind of like, are you a Gnostic perchance?
Maybe. I haven't read that much scripture.
Actually, libertarianism and Christianity don't go together very well from what I've noticed. I have been wrong on this, but the last person with Christian tendencies that I knew was also an ardent libertarian was like a peculiar type of Gnostic.
Yeah, I kind of get the gist of what gnosis is, but I can't like lead a conversation on it.
Fair enough. I think with like the insofar as like the theological designs of this go, and Trump is like, even Sam Harris made this argument weirdly enough that Trump doesn't seem to be like a genuine quote unquote Christian. So I read Corinthians 2. Corinthians 2 is my favorite book. You're gonna love it, believe me. A Christian wouldn't say Corinthians 2; they would call it 2 Corinthians. And Sam Harris made that point. It's like, oh, this is obviously not it. He's pandering to the Christian base. He's not even a Christian. Like, no Christian would say it that way.
He's clearly not a Christian, but I guess that even though he's not a meat and potatoes, good old Southern Christian conservative, he seemed to do more than any other conservative politician has done. Like, I mean, really, let's think about it. Within the past 50 years, and I'm including Reagan on that, who has actually done more for the conservative movement than Trump? I'm hard pressed to think of anyone.
He has, man, but we have new information now.
Well, just because we have new information doesn't mean that we just this is what's making me skeptical, man. Like DeSantis was in politics. He was in the political machine before Trump got elected, right? You know that, right?
No, didn't know that.
Yeah, he was in the political machine. He was actually kind of more of a Romneyite, someone who was more in favor of Mitt Romney. Before like Trump came into town, and then Ron DeSantis kind of like totally switched gears and went full Trumpian. But I mean, here's the thing. I think that Trump is more guided by principles. Like, I think that if we actually get Trump into office, he's going to actively be pissed. He's going to actively try to go after a lot of these people. He has a vendetta, essentially. He's angry. And I rather like that. I think that that's exactly the sort of energy that we need. Whereas I think that when it comes to a DeSantis, I mean, it seems to me like maybe for pragmatic purposes, he switched over to being more of a Trumpian than a Romneyite. And he's done really good shit for Florida. Like, I'm not going to doubt that. But I'm not sure if I necessarily trust him to tackle both the deep state that exists in Washington that is trying to threaten the future of Americans, and also our foreign adversaries that are trying to threaten the future of Americans. I don't think that as of right now he's the right man for the job.
A new option might present itself. I don't know. I'll watch more of DeSantis, but no, man. I don't think they'll run Biden again.
Kamala,
I don't anticipate the Democrats will put forth. What?
We want Kamala. Here at the Promethean Tides, we advocate for Kamala Harris.
I don't know what she's about either, but I know there's this whole theory of a soulless shadow cabal of globalist Satanists that I could definitely see happening, but I'm not making a positive claim about.
Thank you for not doing so. I don't know, man. I think that this. I agree with you that there is, in a certain manner of speaking, a cabal of Satanists that are running the world, but I would just call them anti-natalists.
Like anti-life and shit.
Yeah, they're anti-life. Yeah, they want to choose. They want to choose inexistence over existence.
Oh, like Buddhists.
Actually, yes.
Oh no, not globalist Buddhism.
Those goddamn globalist Buddhists, bro.
Let me think about this. This is kind of getting a bit complicated now. I think what you refer to as Trump's quote-unquote principle more stems from his egotism and desire to be the center of attention, which, can go a long way, but the problem I see with that is that Trump is always going to have a problem with people that don't properly stroke his ego, and during the 4 years that he was in office, he received so much negative attention from so many different angles that I think like what you were talking about, there is a type of resentment and anger and bitterness there, but I don't know if that would actually manifest into something as positive as you might be seeming to hope it would. I think it would be more likely to manifest into him just wanting to surround himself with a cabal of yes men, like the consummate CEO businessman that he is, and more governed from that type of perspective. And any of the cutthroat pragmatist politicians around him that realize this will be more than happy to do that, but play both sides of the coin, where they do that to him in the chambers, but publicly they do a completely different game. But then they convince him, like, oh yeah, I have to say that publicly because this, but you're great, Trump. Believe me. And now that he's like a known quantity and people will know how he reacts to certain things, I guarantee you there will be deep staters that will exploit that now that they know how to exploit him.
Well, and that's to say nothing, however, of how the deep state might be able to exploit Ron DeSantis. But here's the thing: when it comes to Trump, Breaker, you would agree that he has a massive ego, right?
No shit, Sherlock.
And I think that we could both agree that he's kind of stubborn and pig-headed at times, and also has a penchant for going out of his way to try to offend people.
Well, yeah, but that's not necessarily a good thing, like I was saying.
No.
Might...
In fact, these are character flaws. All of them are character flaws. But here, here is what I would try to say. He actually does have character flaws, and that's what makes him kind of interesting. It's because he appears to be a genuine human. Whereas I think that when it comes to most politicians, like, we all know that they have character flaws. I mean, they must. They are human, right? But they try to make themselves out to be as though they have zero character flaws, and that they're just this perfect just image of just being the best human, when we all know that they're not. The thing is that every single human individual has massive character flaws. I have them, Breaker. I know you well enough to say that you have them. PostHuman, I don't know you that well, but I assume that you also have probably some major character flaws, as all humans do.
Character flaws.
But Trump is open and honest about his character flaws. It's actually it's these other politicians that don't let the public know that seem shadier to me. I think that's actually it. That is a strength of Trump, that you already know what his character flaws are. Like, Trump is a more predictable entity to me than is Ron DeSantis. I don't know what the fuck Ron DeSantis is going to do. He might be a fucking sociopath. I have no idea. I know that Trump is not strictly a sociopath. Is he an egotistical greed monster? Yes. But I don't believe he's a sociopath.
You can let PostHuman get in on some things, and I'll respond to that.
No, go ahead.
What I would say to that is that I can see your perspective on that, how you would see that as a positive thing. It's like, well, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. The major problem I have with what you just said is that his character flaws are now so bombastically apparent to so many people in so many public forums, and I would argue even more so in the private forums, like behind the closed doors of the frickin' White House with the deep staters all around. It's basically going to be this massive ego ball surrounded by an entire nest of deep state spiders and snakes that are specifically trained to exploit egotistical people into their designs. And now they're going to be able to even more effectively do that.
I think that's propaganda. I think that, look, Trump had already been a public figure for a long time before he became president. If the deep state wanted to know how to try to manipulate them, they already knew how. Way before he became president, everyone already knew that he was a kind of a douchey egotist. But apparently, they weren't able to exploit him, and he did win the goddamn 2016 election. In my perspective, I think that You know what? If they could have controlled him, they already would have. And as far as I can tell, they didn't.
Well, they kind of did with the bump stock ban and the Operation Lightspeed shit.
Well, okay, right. And that is to say, Trump is not, as much as it is fun to talk about him as being the God Emperor, he is not, in fact, a God Emperor. He is a fallible man. And he has made mistakes. I do not agree with him on the bump stock ban. I do not agree with him on the COVID warp speed complete and utter clusterfuck that he enacted. And I do not agree with him on raising the age of smoking tobacco from 18 to 21. Those are three policies that I strongly disagreed with him on. However, in the scope of the rest of his policies, I'm like, This guy's, he's doing some pretty good shit. I mean, do you remember the economy that we had before COVID and before Biden? My God, it was amazing.
Well, insofar as the tobacco thing was, weirdly enough, that's one of the more honestly conservative things that he did that harkens back to like the old-fashioned moralistic days. I wonder how much of that was legit and how much of it was a pander to see, like, see, PaleoCon never Trump Republicans, I can do conservative things, look at me. I'm not entirely sure, but then the bump stock ban, that's obviously some fucking deep state hoodoo bullshit going on there, because there was no good reason for him to do that. And you know, I get the sensation that the bump stock ban thing was, not to put too fine a point on it, but with the whole Las Vegas debacle, you notice how that just immediately faded into the memory hole soon after the bump stock ban thing. I think it's like, okay, let's see if we can get him to operate on our terms. And I think that was sort of a deep state contrivance, to say nothing about what the actual motives of the Las Vegas shooter were or were not. But the aftermath and how it was utilized in the past tense, I think there was a lot of deep state contrivance to that. It's like, let's see if we can get him to do this total left thing. Oh, he did. He got our gun control through. Well, that's good to know.
I think, Breaker, you and I perhaps have some interesting perspectives on the Las Vegas shooting. That would be completely not appropriate for YouTube. So we will move ever so swiftly onwards.
Yeah, that's why I didn't put too fine a point on it. But anyway, PostHuman, you got any input on this so far?
So you can't make any sort of claim about elite theory, like on YouTube or what?
Oh, yeah, there's some things that you can't really talk about.
Well, and so
it's the
far
only
as like
thing
the
to
specific...
talk about, right? So is Trump one of them? I don't know.
You can talk about Trump. That is 100% allowed. You can
right,
even advocate for Trump.
Yeah, but is he one of them? You know, like he's looking like it to me.
Oh, okay, right. Okay, so
I see what he's saying.
Who is better connected to the deep state? Is it Trump or is it DeSantis? And my position is that DeSantis is more closely connected, and your position perhaps is that Trump is more closely connected. And
well,
all right, fair enough.
Yeah. Maybe DeSantis is too, but Trump definitely looks like it. You're right, though. I shouldn't support DeSantis either.
Okay, so what are the connections that Trump has to the deep state?
Epstein.
Well, okay, there were okay, all right. I have to say this. Number one, Epstein, complete piece of shit. Number two, did he kill himself? No, but I will say this. I think that there were a lot of people that rode on Epstein's plane, probably for business purposes, but there's a difference between riding on his plane to Beijing and riding on his plane to Epstein Island, right? So Trump, I believe, never rode on Epstein's plane to Epstein Island. If you like there's probably like a ton of people that rode on his plane like on a connecting flight to Beijing or whatever the fuck.
Okay.
But going
how
to
do
the
you know
island is
that
different.
Trump's election was not rigged to accelerate the conservative movement to justify an authoritarian communist reaction?
Well,
shit.
I mean that is possible. Yeah, and anything is possible. Anything is game. I will agree with you that is a possibility.
Likely?
Likely, I'm not so sure, but it is a possibility that we should consider.
He has a history of being kind of buddy-buddy with the Clintons when you think about it. So there is that theory that he ran on purpose just to like push Hillary up, but like the South Park theory, it's like, damn it, you weren't supposed to vote for me, damn it. But they did anyway.
Okay, but he clearly he went to war against the Clintons, right? Like, I think it should be clear to anyone that Trump is not buddy-buddy with the Clintons, at least at the moment, right? Like, maybe he was in the past, but they do not seem to be on very friendly terms right now.
They're beefing in public.
Yeah, beefing in public, like, kind of leads me, like, remember when Donald Trump brought out Bill Clinton's alleged victims, and the look on Bill Clinton's face was just like, oh shit, you motherfucker. That was not the look of someone who was expecting that, I will give you that much.
Yeah, I don't think that look, in the past, did maybe Trump and the Clintons have business dealings? Were they buddy for their own self-interests? Yeah, absolutely. Is
right? That's the kind of shit that we have to. That's
right,
the branch,
dude, okay.
Man. That is the diseased branch. We got to cut off the tree.
Here's the thing: is Trump a self-centered, egotistical narcissist? Yeah, yes, he is. Clearly, everyone knows that. But here's the thing: as of right now, it does not appear as though he is friendly with the Clintons. It doesn't look like this is like a fake rivalry, right? Like the one that he had with Rosie O'Donnell, that was probably like a fake rivalry. And in fact, the one that he has with DeSantis right now, I think that this might be a bit of a fake rivalry. In order to like push up the numbers and like, hey, we want to see a fight. Fuck yeah. But when it comes to the genuine rivalry that he has with the Clintons, that I don't think that's fake. I think that is real. I think that if there were not laws in place, they would want to fucking murder each other.
I think, personally, our political system is a simulation already cracked by some kind of artificial intelligence, and we are being played by the media.
A fair point, yeah.
And Trump is part of it.
Well, technically at that level, everyone would sort of be part of it, depending on how far into the Matrix rabbit hole you want to go, but the thing of it is, like, I could see arguments for both sides. Like, Trump he kind of behaves in this wild card fashion. It's like, oh, he says the darndest things on Twitter, but at the same time, he's like already a known quantity in the capacity of operating as the president. Whereas DeSantis is like, he has these anti-globo homo tendencies, like his smackdown of Disney's bullshit, and the quote-unquote don't say gay bill that he got through in Florida. And that seems to be cutting against the globo homo grain in a much more distinctive way. So I could kind of see arguments for both sides, for both Trump and DeSantis. As well, to put an argument against DeSantis, he's the most I could say against him from what I know is he's an unknown quantity insofar as like foreign policy and major politics beyond a gubernatorial position. But if you want to play that card, Trump was a complete unknown in the realm of politics, and mostly his business acumen.
Not even. No. I'm sure he worked with local politicians in New York. I'm sure Trump has had political connections his entire life.
Well, yes, as far as that goes, but I'm talking like the backdoor billionaires and politicians thing. Like, he even admitted to as much tacitly during the presidential debates in 2016. It's like, I only get it by osmosis when he was talking to Hillary Clinton. It's like, all the tax kickbacks that you put in place, I know that I get.
Oh, I don't know anything about that. I'm not your economics guy. But politics, man, it's just people aping shit at each other.
Well, yeah, that's been the same since the dawn of fucking time. But
Exactly.
That is humanity.
Psychology and politics, same thing.
yeah, I could see the point behind that. But what I'm talking about with Trump specifically is that, okay, like the backdoor political connection of billionaire and lobbying and all that shit. Like, yes, you could say connections to politics, but more what I'm talking about is like a leadership position where you're like inside the cathedral rather than like a visitor of the cathedral to bring your tithe in.
Are you talking about like Moldbug?
Well, something akin to that analogy.
Okay. All right, I'm pretty stoned. I lost you.
Welcome to the Promethean times, everyone.
I think you mean consuming of perfectly legal tobacco.
It's legal here in Alaska.
Alaska's pretty based. I think that if I could choose any state to live in, it would be either Alaska or West Virginia.
West Virginia is really poor, and it takes you a long time to get places because it's nothing but hills.
That is true. Yeah. But
well, Alaska, there's places where there's not even fucking roads.
Also true.
And Alaska's really big. It's bigger than Texas, and most of it has no roads except for the metropolitan areas and certain towns. But after a certain point in Alaska, you either have to have a pilot's license or charter a bunch of flights or hike a lot.
So I'm gonna say this about Alaska. I think that climate change is happening. I'm not extremely certain how much of an impact man is having on this, but climate change is happening, as has happened for forever. And the Earth is on a tendency of warming, which means that the Northwestern Passage is going to be more and more opened up. There's a lot of oil up in near the North Pole that is currently inaccessible, but will become accessible for drilling. And if you follow that, then actually, which state in America has direct access to the North Pole area? Well, it's Alaska. I would predict that in the next 100 years, Alaska is going to be, it's going to become more and more and more of an economically important state in America. It's going to be like the next California, I believe.
Oh God, no, no.
I mean, but hopefully not being exactly like California.
They say one day California will swallow the earth.
Goddamn commies.
Well, you know, commies seem to like warmth, except for Russians, but Russia is an eternal land of suffering, so they're kind of not a good barometer.
Actually, in general, commies seem to like suffering.
Well, they were perfect for Russia, I guess, and to an extent, you could argue that the Chinese they had like a love-hate relationship with suffering over the years. Weirdly enough. Damn, this has been a really spicy political debate. Yay!
No, I think I think this is good. I wanted to have a conversation between someone who is pro-Trump and someone who is pro-DeSantis. I'm glad that we got to have this.
Likewise, thank you.
All right, yeah. Well, okay. With that, this will be a relatively brief after show, but I think that it was an interesting one, and thank you, PostHuman, for involving yourself. Of course, I gotta say that I find your name to be satanic. Fuck posthumanism. Fuck transhumanism. But with that, thank you everyone for listening, and we'll catch you soon. Peace out.